The sun dipped behind the horizon, casting a warm yet melancholic glow over the city. The streets buzzed with hurried footsteps, engines revving, and the occasional chatter of pedestrians. Amid the bustling scene, an injured dog lay in the shadows of an alleyway, his fur matted with blood and dirt. His breathing was labored, and his eyes, filled with sorrow and desperation, scanned the passing figures. But no one stopped. No one noticed. That is, until an elderly man named Thomas, a widower in his late 60s, stumbled upon him. The moment their eyes met, an unspoken plea passed between them. The dog whimpered, lifting a trembling paw as if reaching out for salvation. Thomas hesitated. His life had been filled with loss. His wife, his son, and the fading echoes of a once thriving career. Yet something in those eyes struck a chord deep within him. He knelt down and extended a cautious hand. "Hey there, buddy. What happened to you?" The dog flinched but didn't run. He was too weak. Thomas glanced around. People kept moving, oblivious to the suffering creature. With a deep breath, he made a decision that would change both of their lives forever. Carrying the injured dog wasn't easy. Thomas, despite his frail body, cradled the animal as best as he could and hailed a cab. The driver shot him a concerned look, but said nothing as Thomas directed him to the nearest veterinary clinic. Dr. Emily Carter, a compassionate woman in her early 40s, took one look at the dog and sprang into action. "He's in bad shape," she murmured, running gentle hands over his wounds. "It looks like he was hit by a car and left for dead." A pang of sorrow struck Thomas's heart. He watched as the vet and her assistants worked tirelessly. Blood was cleaned, wounds were treated, and fluids were administered. Hours passed before Dr. Carter finally turned to him. "We need to monitor him overnight. He has a fighting chance, but it'll be tough." Thomas nodded. "I'll stay." He didn't know why he was so invested, but he felt an unshakable responsibility for the dog's fate. Sitting in the dimly lit waiting room, he pondered the twists of fate that had led him here. Morning came, and with it, hope. The dog, though weak, had survived the night. When Thomas entered the room, the animal lifted his head slightly, his tail giving a faint wag. "He needs a name," Dr. Carter said with a soft smile. Thomas thought for a moment. "Chance, because he deserves one." Chance, as if understanding, let out a soft whimper. Thomas reached out, and this time, the dog didn't flinch. A connection was forming, one built on trust and healing. As the days passed, Thomas visited Chance regularly. When the vet finally declared him stable enough to leave, there was no question. Chance was coming home with Thomas. Life wasn't easy at first. Chance was terrified of loud noises and flinched at sudden movements. Thomas, patient and understanding, gave him the space and comfort he needed. They fell into a rhythm, their days filled with quiet companionship and long walks in the park. But the ghosts of the past still haunted both of them. One stormy night, as rain lashed against the windows, Chance cowered in a corner, his body trembling. Thomas sat beside him, whispering soothing words, sharing his own fears and losses. In that moment, they healed a little more together. Thomas began taking Chance on their daily walks through the neighborhood. The once isolated old man found himself engaging with people, sharing Chance's story. Strangers became friends, and soon, the tale of the injured dog who found a savior spread like wildfire. One day, a local journalist heard about the story and published an article. The response was overwhelming. Donations poured into the veterinary clinic, and offers to adopt other stray animals surged. Chance's story ignited a spark of compassion, reminding people that kindness still had a place in the world. Just when life seemed to be turning around, tragedy struck. While out for their evening walk, a reckless driver speeding through the intersection lost control. In the chaos, Chance pushed Thomas out of the way. Thomas hit the pavement hard, but he barely felt the pain. His eyes locked onto the crumpled form of his beloved companion. A piercing silence followed before bystanders rushed to help. But Thomas knew. The light in Chance's eyes was fading, the wag of his tail slowing. Through his tears, he cradled Chance, whispering words of love and gratitude. "You saved me, boy. You gave me another chance." Chance let out a final contented sigh, and then he was gone. Grief consumed Thomas, but so did determination. Chance had changed his life. and he wouldn't let that be in vain. With the community's support, he started a foundation in Chance's name, dedicated to rescuing and rehabilitating injured strays. The story of the injured dog who begged for help and found a hero continued to inspire thousands. Thomas, once a lonely old man, found purpose. And though Chance was gone, his legacy of hope and kindness lived on. Years later, an elderly Thomas sat on a park bench, watching a young couple play with their adopted rescue dog. A child approached him, pointing to the plaque nearby, the one dedicated to Chance. "Did you really save him?" the child asked wide-eyed. Thomas smiled, eyes misty but heart full. "No, sweetheart, he saved me." As he gazed at the sky, a single ray of sunlight broke through the clouds, and in that moment he knew Chance was still watching over him, wagging his tail from beyond.